events unfolding. We have now confirmed in Boston there are two suspects, brothers, the Tsarnaev brothers, if you will. Richard Falkenrath with us. And Richard, we've been talking through the morning about this, what we all know so well in Boston. Thousands of people come to school there. A foreign national is a difficult phrase at this moment when you describe Back Bay and the colleges of Boston.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it matters a lot for the investigation and for the understanding of the motive of this. And so if now that the plot possibly traces beyond U.S. borders, the intelligence agencies will have to get involved to a higher degree. The State Department, our foreign partners will have to be dealt with. It's a much more complicated investigation.
We have two suspects that we know of right now. How big could this get?
It could be fairly big if they were the pointy end of a spear, if there was a larger network behind them supporting them, which I think is entirely plausible in this case, that they are in fact supported by some other group. Now, why that same group wasn't able to remove them from the country before this happened is an open question. But this is something the investigators will have to look into, and if it is a new group, we're going to have to worry about a new campaign against the United States.
Lots of speculation now about the character of a given foreign national. We've seen the emotion, the misreporting, the silliness of the other day with other media sources. It's just been a jumble. When you see the name Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, I'm going to suggest a pro like you can't say for sure it's a given company, a country, a given nationality, a given culture. It's a big country out there that a lot of Americans don't understand.
Yeah, that's right. You wouldn't want to speculate about their nationality with just a name. There are certain names that are distinctive to certain regions, but even they can move and re-immigrate from elsewhere.
Yeah, I agree with that strongly. Michael McKee, we look at this and we look again at the emotion some 12 years on from 9/11. Here we are once again, and I guess the good news here is such a rapid course of events. This was not overhanging for all but 3 days.
No, it's a different order of magnitude, a different kind of thing than we saw on 9/11. And I guess one of my questions for Richard would be, we had in 9/11 somebody immediately overseas come out and claim responsibility. If this was some sort of organized group from overseas that wanted to do harm to the United States, why haven't they said anything?
One speculation is that, which I advanced yesterday, is that was a pre-drone era. And this is an era of relentless, offensive, unilateral American military action against known and suspected terrorists. And I think it's changed the dynamic of claiming credit. Because, in fact, one thing you can know for certainty is if we believe you have attacked the United States and killed American citizens in the terrorist attack, we will attack you directly without regard for where you may be. And in 9/11, we didn't even have the technical means to do that, much less the policy to do it. And President Bush and now President Obama made it abundantly clear that the gloves are off with respect to the use of lethal force from the air against suspected terrorists.
Let's bring in how social media has changed the way that this has unfolded completely. There's a lot of misinformation flying out there, a lot of information that turned out to be correct as well on social media. How are the authorities harnessing that?
Well, they are trying to exploit it themselves at the same time as their public affairs people are attempting to deal with the fallout of the misinformation. And these two individuals will likely have some social media presence. And if they don't have any, then it suggests that they were really practicing very good operational security and were part of a plot, because it would be unusual in this day and age for two people of this age to have zero social media presence. So that in itself would be an indicator.
Would you please comment, Dr. Falkenrath, on what we heard earlier, that we really want to find this guy alive? We don't want him dead.
Well, you got to. I think from an investigative standpoint, that's exactly right. But this situation is being dealt with both as an investigation, as a tactical situation in the western suburbs of Boston, and the investigators are not running the tactical situation. The police officers and the troopers who are responding to that, who've locked down Watertown and the surrounding areas, they are treating this as an immensely dangerous situation. And for someone like suspect number 2 to survive this, he will essentially have to surrender himself in the most unthreatening way possible.